If you're like me, you probably have heard of many 3D software over the years. One of them is Softimage. At one time, its flame burned so hot, no one thought there is gonna be a CG industry without it. The history of Softimage is the history of 3D software that did not really find a home except in the hearts of 3D artists who used it over the decades to create amazing pieces of artwork. Softimage was used by the biggest VFX studios like ILM to create blockbusters such as Jurassic Park, Terminator 2, Titanic, Men in Black, Spawn, and much more. Also, it was used to create amazing video games at that time, from the Japanese Resident Evil series, the Silent Hill trilogy, Half-Life, The Legend of Zelda, the Star Wars video games, and much more. Looking at it right now, I can comfortably say that it was a genius 3D software that was ahead of its time. At one point of its life cycle, it reached new heights in the computer-generated images field and became the #1 3D package in the 90s. And despite its limited toolset, it was super fast to use with a highly intuitive UI. Softimage was able to get things done quickly, and clients loved it, leaving the industry at large trying to integrate its features into their own products. Despite its success in the industry of video games and VFX for film, as Nick Weber, Senior FX TD at Milk VFX said, Softimage has been passed around from company to company over the years like a CGI hot potato. It's as if they never knew what to do with this eccentric genius child. From what we know about 3D programs that came and went over the years, Softimage probably was the most impressive. And like any 3D program no longer developed, Softimage's absence from the industry is sad. But when we evaluate what it managed to accomplish while it was alive, it's hard not to be appreciative of how it went out. This is the story of the rise and fall of Softimage. Let's go back to 1986, when National Film Board of Canada filmmaker Daniel Langlois, in partnership with software engineers Richard Marseille and Laurent Lauzon, began developing an integrated 3D modeling, animation, and rendering package with an interface targeted at visual artists. The software was initially demonstrated at SIGGRAPH in 1988 and was released for Silicon Graphics workstations the following year as the Softimage creative environment. For the first time, modeling, animation, and rendering were integrated into a single package. Around the same time, most 3D software we know today like Blender, 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, and Maya didn't even start to exist, except Max that was in its early development, and Houdini that was released a couple of years earlier in 1986. Softimage's creative environment was adopted by major visual effects studios like Industrial Light and Magic and Digital Domain, and they used it in their production pipelines, which also typically included software from Alias Research, Cryer Films, Angel Studios, and Pixar Animation Studios, as well as a variety of custom tools. Its character animation toolset expanded substantially with the addition of inverse kinematics in version 2, which was used to animate the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. The original Jurassic Park in 1993 had 6.5 minutes of ILM's work, but The Lost World Jurassic Park in 1997 has more than 28 minutes of ILM's work, which is a big difference and a big leap in the visual effects industry.
What we're looking at here is something that's got my industry absolutely buzzing, and that is Softimage running on Windows NT. Serves as an example of how Windows NT and these type of workstations are really going to literally change the way effects are done for movies, films, and television.
In 1994, Microsoft acquired Softimage with the intention of introducing high-end 3D animation software to its Windows NT platform, and subsequently renamed it Softimage 3D. In January 1995, Softimage 3D was announced as the official 3D development tool for Sega Saturn. The first Windows port of Softimage 3D version 3.0 was released in early 1996, and Softimage 3D Extreme 3.5 was released later that year, and it included particle effects and the mental ray renderer, which offered area lights, ray tracing, and other advanced features. 3D Paint functionality was also added a year later in version 3.7. Softimage DS was launched in 1997, which is an editing and effects system that was tied to high-performance hardware for the time, to allow finishing of commercials and music videos, and this was back in the day when hardware restrictions meant that most editing was done using relatively low-quality previews. Microsoft actually acquired Softimage when it was at its peak, because around that time, things were so hot in the industry, with many amazing movies coming out each year. The 28 minutes of visual effects in Jurassic Park of 1997 we talked about actually included more than 11 types of dinosaurs, with some scenes showing as many as 40 dinosaurs at the time, all animated using Softimage 3D. Using constraint controls, expressions, and other tools in Softimage 3D, ILM redefined its methods for chaining characters. For instance, in the earlier versions of Jurassic Park, to rotate a dinosaur's head, animators had to manually enter rotations for the individual chains in the neck to make the motion taper realistically down the neck. With the new version, ILM was able to write a single expression for twisting the dinosaur's body, which provided realistic rotation that tapers along the length of the body. Also, if you are old enough, you probably remember Men in Black that was created in 1997. This movie was packed full with entertaining 3D elements ranging from space bugs, aliens and flying saucers, to a 3D supercar that flies around and drives on a tunnel's ceilings. Softimage 3D was used to create all the animations, and the characters were created in a hybrid manner, with overall motion created using Softimage 3D and signature facial expressions were created using ILM's proprietary caricature software.
The Sumatra architecture is going to afford a level of flexibility that people haven't seen out of Softimage products before.
You'll be able to do virtually anything with Sumatra.
The fact that Softimage was doing so well in the late 90s made it so valuable because in 1998, Avid bought it from Microsoft for a whopping $285 million. Though there were hints it was more after releasing Softimage DS to complement Avid's own Symphony finishing system. Around the same time in February 1998, SGI subsidiary alias Wavefront was releasing its character animation and visual effects software, Maya 1.0.
The thing about Maya that's really attractive to a small company like ours is that it gives you all the tools you need to do the best work you can do. So you're not limited by the tools.
This had some immediate advantages over Softimage. Around this time, the problems of Softimage started to rise to the surface.
So I'm gonna go ahead and delete these guys, and let's go ahead. Oh, boo.
As Martin Chemney said, when Maya 1.0 arrived, it was a superior system with the power of MEL scripting language, which stands for Maya Embedded Language. Many larger film effects companies built their pipeline around Maya, and when XSI was released, it had a lot to catch up with. Softimage struck back with the redeveloped from the ground up Softimage XSI in 2000. This introduced a nonlinear animation editing and mixing system, strong interactive rendering, a particle system, in addition to compositing and ActiveX scripting. Nick Weber from MickVFX said about this, early on, XSI had huge advantages over Maya, particularly mentor-ray integration, modeling was fast, and it had an interface that was ahead of its time. There was the render tree and built-in compositing, and of course the animation tools, render layers, and large datasets. Later ICE made it unique and others were envious. Just to clarify, ICE Interactive Creative Environment was introduced in 2008. It allowed non-programmers to control elements within scenes in XSI, such as cameras, particles, and light properties, simply by connecting nodes on a graph, which was a great solution for many problems. Even though Softimage XSI hit back so hard, many considered this move to be a bit late, because it gave other competitors such as Maya and Max a lot of time to grow as well. Wayne Duncan-Smith, Senior Technical Director at Invisible, said, "When the ICE effects system was introduced, it greatly increased the capacity of what Softimage could do. Most importantly, it was fast and gave it an edge above Maya. The problem is when XSI was introduced, Maya had already established itself." By this point, Maya was the 3D suite of choice for feature film and visual effects, and had become a crown jewel for Autodesk, which had acquired Alias in October 2005.
I've got an awesome HP workstation. I got an NVIDIA Quadro 6000, so a lot of that's allowed me to get this kind of performance, but a lot of it is just the fact that Softimage is multi-threaded and it's got a lot of power under the hood. So 750 characters, all running, all simulating live in front of you at a pretty good frame rate, and I think that's pretty outstanding. In October 2008, Autodesk acquired the Softimage software and brand, but not Softimage DS from Avid, for approximately $35 million in what was widely regarded as a bargain buyout, though Avid continued the DS product line. According to the official statement released by the two companies,
Upon the completion of the acquisition, Autodesk intends to continue developing and selling Softimage's core product line, while integrating certain Softimage technology into future versions of Autodesk solutions and products. This was actually the beginning of the end for this great software, and many people knew it, especially studios in the industry. If you read between the lines, you can see clearly that Autodesk had all the right to use as much as it wants from Softimage to integrate it into Maya, Max, or whatever it want to do with it. According to the agreement at the time, Autodesk plans were to acquire and continue developing the following Softimage products: Softimage XSI, including XSI Essentials, XSI Advanced, Academic, and the XSI Software Development Kit. There is also Softimage Face Robot, which is a complete software solution for easy rigging and animating 3D faces. Also Softimage CAD, which is an advanced character animation system, which later became a very important tool for Autodesk 3ds Max animation. And finally Softimage Grasswald, which was an interoperability solution that was intended to be integrated with Autodesk's own interoperability technology. Mark Petit, Senior Vice President of Autodesk Media and Entertainment, commented, "As we have demonstrated since the acquisition of Alias in 2006, we are committed to giving our customers choice when it comes to their 3D tools. We plan to maintain and grow the Softimage product line, and through Autodesk, FBX provides better interoperability between Softimage products, 3ds Max, and Autodesk Maya." In 2009, Softimage XSI was rebranded Autodesk Softimage and has since continued to be developed as part of Autodesk Entertainment Creation Suite. They did that together with former rivals Maya and 3ds Max. I personally don't know how many people were aware of what was going on back then, but there were some important people who couldn't stay silent and talked about what they were thinking. Dan Upton, a lighting TD at Jellyfish, said, "One can't help it but assume that Autodesk bought it to harvest its technology, then engineer its downfall." This accusation has been thrown at Autodesk regularly since it bought Softimage. For a while, every Autodesk press conference related to its CG products would include a journalist asking when Autodesk would kill Softimage, initially seriously and then as a running joke. Autodesk itself prefers to see this approach as letting Softimage live on in their products. The Autodesk's entertainment industry manager said about this, "The acquisition of Softimage led to several major enhancements in other Autodesk products, as well as new areas of research and innovation such as Project Bifrost," as he was referring to its new fluid simulation system that's 50% ice and 50% NIAD system that Autodesk bought last year. In March 2014, Autodesk published Softimage's final release announcement, letting its users know that the 2014 release is the last one for Softimage, which was shipped on April 14, 2014. Autodesk assured its clients that it will offer product support until April 30, 2016, and that they're gonna provide Softimage support services to all Softimage customers with Autodesk subscriptions at no cost. They also offer Softimage subscription customers a special no-cost option to migrate to either 3ds Max or Maya software while continuing to use Softimage in production. Autodesk said that they were focusing on their development efforts on 3ds Max and Maya to better serve the needs of the media and entertainment industry and provide customers with better products faster. According to Autodesk's entertainment industry manager Maurice Patel, the decision to kill Softimage was taken to focus on the company's effort on its core 3D tools, and he said, "The industry continues to evolve very rapidly and consumers are demanding a faster rate of innovation across all product lines including Softimage, 3ds Max, and Maya. Given this, we needed to focus our resources on where there was the greatest customer need, which is 3ds Max and Maya, in order to accelerate our development plans." While some firms continue to use Softimage for the foreseeable future, moving on to another software was inevitable, and a lot of artists and studios were saddened by this news, which led to an entire section of the industry that found itself in a position to have to be retrained to use a new software. This is actually a hard situation for studios, especially after they spent years training their artists and getting used to a certain pipeline. This was a strong hit for many because it was at the core of their pipeline, since it is the main tool for 3D creation, animation, and creating effects. Other than studios, independent artists weren't happy either, because they have invested so much time around this program, and learning a new one is time consuming and sometimes not going to be satisfying their needs because no two software were created equal. Jellyfish Picture Studios were well known for their use of Softimage. The company's CEO said its appeal was that it was relatively easy for skilled users of 3D software to learn. If you've never used this package before, it won't take you long to get up and running. Softimage also has a great workflow, as there is a different section for each stage of the production, such as modeling, animation, rendering, and so on. Everything is well integrated rather than features being slapped on. Softimage was extremely capable, but more importantly was very agile. That made it very suitable for broadcast where there is a requirement for high-end material on a fraction of a feature budget. Maya has more features, but a lot of them are just bolted on and not very usable without a lot of code support that is not available in small and mid-sized companies. Most of the features in Softimage are well integrated and thought out, and it doesn't feel like there is a lot of redundancy in the structure. The decision to continue Softimage has been met with dismay, and some anger within the VFX community. Some hardcore users haven't been happy to let Softimage go gently into that good night, and there was a petition up on change.org to save the software, but many users were resigned to the demise of what was long regarded as a brilliant artistic tool. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it around. You can also check some of our previous videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.